What's going on, Wisconsin? Thank you, everybody, for stopping out to this Wednesday edition of the podcast with Bobby Beans. Wife's on the comments right away this evening, so we are going to jump right into our sponsors and partners who make this program possible. Shout out to our friends at Higher Love. We got their link in the comments below. If you haven't got a chance to stop out there, please make sure you grab that promo code. It will save you a few bucks to the tune of 15% off your first purchase when you use it. And they have some awesome products up in the UP. They are going to be all across that border. They got the deli style flour. They've got the green grow for, I think they're up to like half a dozen of their grows where they grow them themselves organically. Also, a huge shout out to Ignite Dispensary. If you are looking for products in the state of Wisconsin that comply with the regulations of and definition of hemp, can't share their website directly in the comments because it has the word dispensary in it. But please just give them a quick Google search. You will see their logo to know that it's them. And I'm going to drop that promo code into the comments for you here. We've got Jill and Randy in the house right away this evening. Appreciate you guys stopping out for another episode. Heather's here as well. Much love to the OGs who make this thing pop every night. If you're new, thanks for joining us. If you guys can smash that like button, if you can share this, if you would feel so comfortable to do so, just helps with all the metrics here on the social media world, especially being cannabis themed. It is sometimes tricky to get seen out there. We have some pretty good luck, but appreciate everybody who helps push that as well. We got Pete in the house. We got Heath in the house. Oh, we are rolling deep tonight. Let's get it, guys. Looking forward to it. We got some interesting topics. We've only got 3 articles this evening. Typically, we're in the 4 or 5 range. A lot of stuff over the last couple of days has been regurgitated. It seems like that whenever the RNC or DNC is going on. There's just a lot of focus on that. It's all kind of confusing to me as far as what's legit now, but we're going to be touching on a couple different subjects here. Jill's loving the t-shirt. Right on, Jill. Appreciate the support. So, yeah, we got you there. So let's get into it. This definitely caught my eye when I saw this one come across the old notification system. Whoa, God, why does it always default to being so big? I don't get it. Nope, not that one either, folks. Bobby Beans, the putts. There we go. That's what we're looking for. Now I just scooch over here a little bit. Perfect. All right. So this definitely caught my eye when I saw GOP senator says let's tax it, talking about cannabis, and adding that rescheduling is a good thing. Well, fell out of my rocker. I'm guessing this person is not from Wisconsin, but I swear, if I could just get one Republican to listen about being that domino to fall, it's not a bad thing if you endorse it. I know there's something holding you people back, but you got to represent the people. You can't just keep hiding behind it's bad and then I can't do anything about it. Stand up for your people. So let's see who, where, what senator said this. I'm super excited. We're going to find out together because we need both sides of the aisle working on this to get it to truly flourish. This should not be a right versus left thing, especially for us, the consumers and the voters of these people. We can't let division come between us. We cannot let division come between us. We shouldn't have to. It's all a game, political game. We need to stick together. All right, what do we got here? GOP senator says, let's tax cannabis, adding that rescheduling is a good thing. So it's a GOP senator who's been critical of the Biden administration's process that led to rescheduling proposal, but still says the reform would be a good thing, adding that it'd be better to tax it and let licensed business access the banking system. Yes, please. Much needed. So it looks like this is Senator Bill Cassidy out of Louisiana. Wow. Ohio's legal. Louisiana's talking about it. And Wisconsin's over here like, we're not going to do that, folks. That's scary business. Come on, man. All right, back to Louisiana. Senator Bill Cassidy said he felt moving cannabis from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3 of the Controlled Substance Act would be a good thing, even as he's more recently raised procedural questions about the administration's rescheduling proposal. Looks like he wrote a pair of letters to the Justice Department and U.S. Health Department of HHS. Oh, no, he was talking about those letters that they had sent from the president's office to those offices. Cassidy, so he had co-sponsored a bipartisan bill to streamline studies into the medical potential of cannabis that President Joe Biden signed into law in late 2022. So this guy's had some cannabis leverage, which is awesome to hear from a Republican. Republicans, please take note. I would think if you were running for office as a Republican, if you would stand up and speak up for your constituents and say, I support cannabis, I think you'd get a lot of support from the people who vote you into office. I feel like us voters feel like you guys are hiding behind this facade of, I can't do anything. Sorry, it's out of my control. It's my boss telling me I can't. We elect you to your seat. Stand up. Be proud of representing your people. Put it on us. Everybody, 80% of the people that vote for me want me to do this, boss. What do I do? And come out and say that to the public. Hello, let's go. So Cassidy weighed in on the Secure and Fair Enforcement Regulation. That was the Safer Banking Act. We've got a couple comments. We're going to pop those up here on you for you. Republicans are scared of that. Something. So it looks like, breaking this down a little more, Senator Cassidy said he supported that in the past because I think it's better not to have millions of dollars beneath the mattress. Exactly. Adding that the federal government should tax it. Again, I don't even think it needs to be taxed. But with how far we got to go in this whole situation, we're all for a fair taxing on cannabis in Wisconsin because that's what every other state's doing. Keep it fair. 10%. See Michigan. Late last month, Senator Tillis from North Carolina, Republican, was similarly asked about Biden administration's rescheduling push and notably said he supports creating a comprehensive regulatory framework that treats cannabis just like tobacco. That scares me just a little bit. I would want to see a little more about what tobacco looks like before I say, hey, that's a great thing. But tobacco is legal and cannabis is not, so that's a start, right? That's kind of where I'm at with it. The federal government needs to figure out a safe way to allow this market to occur. Exactly. Larry says, tax it just like Michigan, right? Let the businesses flourish. You're going to have more sales because you keep it reasonably priced, right? You ain't got this 20% tax like in Illinois. I remember driving through, I bought a car down in Illinois, and then, that's a tedious freaking process. Going through all the paperwork in that. My wife was awesome, as she always is. She was rode down with me, and on the way back, I was like, hey, let's stop at a border. Can I grab a joint? You okay driving? And then when I went into that thing, and I'm looking at the kiosk, and I can't find one pre-roll for under like $18. Man, I finally talked myself into buying one, but it wasn't even enjoyable when you're walking out smoking $20 after you leave a little tip for the bud tender. Like, now, if it was like a 10 grand, it's silly, just silly, in my opinion, when you compare the two states. Larry agrees, Jill agrees. That's right. See, we're on the same page. Like it. So again, we've got some Republicans talking something positive about cannabis, I guess, as far as legalization goes. Let's take this and run with it. Republicans in Wisconsin, please pay attention. We, the people that you represent, want this. Somebody in this state, stand up and get behind this. The people will thank you. And there's a lot of us, the majority of us. So, again, we got some news out there about people coming across, I guess, the aisle, which, again, this shouldn't be an issue like that. But the good news to see, so I want to share that with you guys. Coming up next, this, again, let's legalize Wisconsin. We do not look at who you vote for and then say you're a good person or a bad person because of who you vote for. I think politics is way deeper than that. I think everybody who votes for whoever they vote for feels like they're doing the right thing. I don't think anybody votes for anybody to say, I want to hurt this world or make it more crazy or screw my neighbor. Like, we're all raised differently. We all have our different opinions, and you're welcome to vote for whoever you want. Okay, that's first and foremost. I don't necessarily think we need to be as loud about who we vote for as we are, because I don't think we change people's minds like we think we do when we share 100 posts about, I support this candidate, your candidate sucks. I support this candidate, your candidate sucks. I think both sides have some good, and I think all politicians have some good. I also think when politicians start running for office or are running to get votes, they say a lot of things that they're going to do or want to do But man, that just usually isn't the case, right? Like a lot of these ideas or these hot topics, I feel like don't always necessarily come through once they get into office. So please do not discriminate against each other and who you vote for, anything like that. One thing that could be a potentially good thing was reading this article, but I also realized that this is somebody running for president. So you would think they're going to say some stuff to get some votes. So please know that's where I stand. We don't lean one way or the other. There is a lot more support for legalization in Wisconsin from Democrats that are in Wisconsin politics as opposed to Republicans. That is a fact. That's not saying if you vote for Republican, I think you're stupid. Okay, let's just clear that up, right? This is a family affair. You can vote for who you want. I'm not going to tell you to vote for who, and you vote how you want to vote. That's how I feel it should be. All right. Wow, that was a huge disclaimer. Senator says Harris will be ready to sign cannabis reform bills if elected president. I'm trying to read comments, read the article, and make sure my hair looks okay. I don't care about my hair. I do like that background light, though. That really pops. I like that. I'm glad we got that up. Thank you again, hon, for your help on that. The let's legalize thing back there is cool. So, potentially, this sounds really great. What would be really cool is if Trump, the other candidate, would come out and say, well, wait a second. Kamala's not the only one who supports legalization. So do I. So don't vote for her just for legalization. I support the plant. It's the greatest plant I've ever seen. It's going to be the best legalization effort you've ever seen across the nation, right? Maybe something like that. Maybe if you could drop a line like that, that'd be great. Because what we need to do is get these people pitting against each other like, oh, no, I'm going to legalize even more. I'm going to legalize even more. Less restrictions. Let's just say you're going to do it so we can hold you accountable to it. Because in my opinion, it should already have been done, especially I think Biden had ran on this at one point, like, right? Like, let's just, what do we got to do to make this happen? So there's a senator that says Harris would be ready to sign reform bills if elected president. Great. Trump, come out and say the same thing, is my take on it, so that we can then hold these people accountable to what they say they're going to do. But diving into this a little bit, it looks like they're saying that President-elect, I think that's how you word that, right? Or vice president now. So we'll go Vice President Harris is if she's elected president this November, she will be ready to sign reform bills into law, according to a Democratic senator, as other lawmakers similarly predict more momentum on cannabis legalization at the state and federal levels under a Harrison-Walz administration. It looks like in a series of interviews at the DNC, where delegates are going to be nominating Harris, the Democratic members discussed the future of cannabis policy with its first ever fully pro-legalization administration, as well as their concerns about what might happen if former President Donald Trump ultimately prevails. So they're quoted here. This is Senator Jeff Merkley out of Oregon. He says, I think she'll be very supportive of reform, and saying that he himself was a sponsor of a bipartisan banking bill that leadership is aiming to advance. And he says, if we can get those bills through, she'll be ready to sign them. When he was asked about how his own predictions for reform under a Harris-Walz administration, the senator said he believes having them in the White House would embolden their states to take action on issue of private liberty, such as legalization. Get out of here with that, Bobby, for president now. Come on. Heather says he won't. Right. It doesn't make sense to me, folks. I think that he will have a chance to work with the new administration on advancing reform. I have long felt that Congress is lagging behind the American people. Second that. Looks like our Instagram is having some issues, which it typically does. And so we're not going to really worry about that too much. Apologize if you're trying to watch us on Instagram. Looks like StreamYard's having issues with their stream. So again, the platform for the DNC which was formally approved on Monday, omitted an explicit endorsement of decriminalization. Wyden said he still backs the party document because of its focus on civil liberties, which he says transfer to cannabis. So they're saying it kind of falls down the line. So we'll have to see how that shakes out. Trump recently indicated that he's coming around to the idea of decriminalization. I did see that interview last week, but it was also very it was very business professionally worded, his response to should it be legal. So we need a little more to say that that would be a possibility as far as what was said and what he was trying to say. So we'll keep an eye on it. They're saying here the problem for Trump is that nobody believes him, and we have 4 more years of his policy. Of course, he's going to say whatever is popular now, but when in doubt, he will do whatever the Heritage Foundation tells him to do. Those are them folks from that Project 2025. That's a whole scary thing. So that is where this article leads us. I think we'll kind of leave it at that. But they're trying to ramp up that basically the freedom of the plant would be a big plus under the Harris administration. So we will have to see how that works out. All right, coming up next, and our final article for this evening was just touching base on, we've followed, I think 2 of these we have talked about, but I saw now that there are 3 states that are going to decide on legalization initiatives in November. So I wanted to touch base on those. And of course, the website has an extra pop-up all of a sudden that I'm trying to read that from. So we're just going to do a little wham, bam. Thank you, ma'am. Move that out of the way. All right. So we've got Florida, North Dakota, and South Dakota. So the Dakotas and Florida will decide on a ballot initiative to legalize in November. As we know, the big one down in Florida is the Amendment 3, which you keep seeing a lot of stuff from DeSantis and just a whole big mess down there in Florida of he said, she said, it should be vote no, vote yes. So they're spending a lot of money on that down there. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. And then we've also got South Dakota. They've initiated Measure 29, which would legalize cannabis and allow individuals to possess 2 ounces. That comes down to 2 ounces of flour, 16 grams of concentrated cannabis, and 1,600 milligrams of THC in cannabis products. They were looking at individuals could grow up to 6 plants with a limit of 12 per household. Then when it came to North Dakota, that is Measure 5 that they are trying to get approved, which would legalize cannabis and allow individuals to possess up to 1 ounce of flour, 4 grams of cannabinoid concentrate, 1,500 milligrams of THC in the form of cannabinoid products, and 300 milligrams of edibles. That's not much. Individuals would be allowed to grow 3 plants with a limit of 6 plants per household. Wow, that's pretty low. That's kind of crazy. John says, let's legalize Wisconsin. Rescheduling isn't going to negatively impact states that have already legalized, is it? If so, how? That's the kind of touchy part. That my understanding is that's where it could get a little tricky because if it were to, the biggest concern I think that people have is it will turn it more into a medication form of what it, instead of just the plant, now it's a medication. So then could Big Pharma try to influence how laws are written? I mean, I would think it'd be very hard for the federal government to tell the states or any of the states by themselves to say, hey, you guys who are already selling stuff legally, it's now interpreted this way. So it's really hard to say. And that's something that I'd want to see when they say they're rescheduling. Where's the document or the legislation that explains how they're rescheduling? Because that would really set the precedence. And hopefully they're going to leave it to the states, and the states are going to leave it to similar to how they have it now and just keep pharma as far away from it as possible. So we'll have to really see the wording of how they do that rescheduling, which hopefully we'll know soon. I would definitely like to see that before the election because I don't want it to be another thing that was just bait and then we get elected officials in office and then it just, didn't pass, see you later, which unfortunately seems to happen in the United States of America. Just a reminder, I saw somebody sent me an article. Ohio is now up to, since the 6th when they went legal with adult responsible use, they're up to, I think it's 28 million in sales between their adult responsible use and medical. That is insane. That is a lot of flour moving through Ohio. Again, Ohio is legal and we are not, which is, again, nothing against people in Ohio. I don't know why. I just view them as a little more farmery than us, if that makes sense. A little more disconnected from like electronics and a little more old school. Sorry, that's the word. Okay, not trying to offend any Ohioans. Not trying to offend you, Ohioans. I just thought we were a little further ahead than you. But you guys are awesome. I love your state. Been there a couple times. Awesome. I'm not trying to make fun of Ohioans. I promise. Let's sit down, smoke a joint. We'll be best friends. Nothing against Ohioans. Just can't believe you're legal before us. Anyway, it's just bait. She says Dennis is worried that reschedule will be big pharma takeover. It should be descheduled. Would be the ideal reclassification. It's just crazy how cannabis is treated in this country. Props to, again, the states that have some form of legalization. Props to the states that have some kind of input from the people in the businesses that work with them on the council. Most states have the Cannabis Council. And just there's enough to go around, right? Like, especially in Wisconsin, we can have a good amount of businesses that could do very well. And I would hope that they would be willing to come together, work together, sit down with the politicians. Let's get this thing rolling. Way overdue. Quit putting people in jail for it. Let there be jobs around it. Tons of jobs, tax revenue. It's all common sense, really. So that's all we got for tonight's episode. We're going to kick it out of here until Friday. Thank you, everybody, for stopping out. Again, I'm Bobby Beans. This podcast studio is sponsored by Let's Legalize Wisconsin, which is the platform that we use on Facebook and who helps get us to events, make noise, that kind of stuff here all across the state. And then, obviously, thank you to everybody who stops out and is a part of this thing, whether it's 1 comment, 2 comments, 100 shares. It takes all of us, folks. We just got to keep growing, and we got to put the pressure on them. So Heather's always rolling one at the end. Appreciate you thinking of me. Hopefully you call that the Bobby joint. Get that thing going. All right, everybody. Have a good evening. Bobby Beans, we're out of here, folks. Whoops, wrong one. There we go. Blip.